then the struggles I faced and just how to overcome that. So I started playing way back when in 2006 when I was 8, and I got introduced to basketball from my brother. So that was nice. And at first, it was just something that I enjoyed doing just for fun. And then I realized that I really liked the sport. And so in France, where I started, I played for different club teams and then realized I wanted to get to a higher level. And so over summers, I would go to basketball camps in the US because I have family in the US as well. And through a basketball camp in California, I got recruited to play in high school. And so in 2013, when I was 13, I moved to the US and played 3 years in high school. And I moved without my family because they were still in France. So lived with my high school coach, and I played for a school called Fairmont. And then after my high school years, I was recruited to play in college, still in California. And so I played 4 years for a Division I team in Santa Barbara, and then graduated in 2020, just last year, and then got recruited to play here in Scotland to play for Pride. So I know everybody talks about everything that they accomplish, but I think my biggest lessons have been through my struggles and just how the hardships in basketball. So I just want to share a couple with you guys. My first one, I would say the hardest part was leaving home when I was 13 to play in the US. Yeah, I mean, it was a new country, a new school, and a new team. And obviously, I was homesick, missed my family and friends. And then English was actually my second language, so difficult to leave at that time. But I decided to leave to play basketball at a higher level. And so that's just a sacrifice that I made to get more experience and more connections. And so I learned a lot through that. Through staying, I learned that it's important not to quit on a team just because things get hard. Because my first 6 months in the US, I kept begging my mom to send me home, send me home. And my high school coach was actually telling me that it would be selfish if I left. So I decided to stay for the team. And through that, I also learned about the value in connecting with your teammates and how much support they can give you on and off the court. And that was so important for me. And then also just it made me focus on what I really wanted to do in the US, and that was to play basketball. So it helped me work hard every day because I left home to play. So I didn't want to give up on that. Another challenge that I had was just getting recruited after high school and university. I mean, I'm not the tallest. I'm not tiny either, but I'm not the tallest. And basketball is like people look for tall people first. And then when you're shorter, I think there's a little more competition. And so I know a lot of big universities didn't necessarily look at me because I was shorter. But I mean, I think anyone can play the sport. Anyone can play this basketball if you want to, and if you work hard at it. It's there's an opportunity. So yeah, I learned that I can't really control my height, but I can definitely control my work ethic and how much I improve every day. And it just took me a long time to really find what my strengths were. So obviously I wasn't gonna post up on people or do what tall people do, but finding strength in my speed, and then also just playing defense and working hard at that, but also just shooting and improving on those things. So I really learned a lot through that, how to just go around the fact that I wasn't as tall, which is okay. Then another struggle that I faced was in university. There was my third year, all my teammates quit, like 7 teammates left. And for a university team to be left with just 3 people, it's really challenging because everyone is good in university. And so it's just hard to lose all your teammates. And obviously we recruited new people, but they were really young. And so that was a huge challenge. Was I'm coming back as a third year, and now the entire team is new except for 3 people. But I learned a lot through that. One thing is that change is not necessarily a bad thing. So yeah, when things happen, when challenges come across, it's not always a bad thing. I mean, yes, 7 teammates left, but I also got 7 new teammates, and they were really talented, really good. So sometimes you just have to trust the process and trust that your coaches have something greater in mind, and they're just putting all this puzzle together. And then, yeah, again, just focusing on what we did have and not what we lost was something I really learned through that, to overcome that challenge. And then I would say another huge struggle is just the grind of basketball. I mean, it's a hard sport. It's an everyday commitment, and to play at a high level, you do have to be able to commit and sacrifice your time and your energy for a lot. I personally missed out on a lot of family time, a lot of hangout time with my friends. For example, I would not go home for Christmas or not go home during the summer so that I could train. And that's just something that is hard, especially when we're young and we want to have fun, but you have to be in the gym to get better. It's definitely a challenge, but yeah, I think that the biggest thing that I learned is it's so worth it. Basketball has like given me so much in my life, and it's taken me from France to the US to now Scotland. And so I've had a lot of opportunities through that. And also that I've made a lot of connections with people and a lot of good friends that will last forever. And then I also learned that things are hard, but when you struggle, that's when you grow. And so I've learned the most about myself on the court. And that's been invaluable in my life. So, some key lessons for you guys and for all of us to remember is first, to me, I live by this like, put in the work in everything that you do. So, in basketball, but also off the court. And a lot of times we think we want to work hard to beat someone else, which is a good mentality, but I would be careful with that. I would want to work hard for yourself. You know, you want to be your own competition and not compare with others because we all have different journeys. So every day, how much can you work to make yourself better, for you, not for anyone else, just for you? And hard work doesn't mean you do all the big things all the time. It means the little commitments. So, you know, those hustle plays on the floor or spending that extra hour in the gym, putting in the work when no one is there. So it's really, sometimes it's about those little things that really do make the big things happen. Another key lesson is to make mistakes is okay. Um, there's this tendency to think that, you know, we have to do everything right, and that's really impossible because basketball is hard. So don't be afraid to make mistakes. They're bound to happen. And I remember one of my coaches told me the difference between a mistake of commission and a mistake of omission. And when you make a mistake, but it's those mistakes of omission when you're not doing anything and you mess up, that's when those aren't okay. So just remember mistakes of when you're going for it. That's really when you learn. And then my last lesson is to just love the game and enjoy. I mean, I've spent so many hours playing basketball and so much of my life that it would be really sad if I didn't like it or if I didn't have fun with the people around me. So no matter what you do, like you have this one life. So if you're gonna keep playing basketball for a long time, make sure that you actually enjoy it because otherwise there's no point to it. Um, and then I guess I just wanted to also talk about what success means. And I think as you guys keep playing, the word, oh, I'm successful or I've accomplished a lot is going to come up. And it's important to know what success means to you. And a lot of times people define success as winning or losing games. And sometimes you can find success in those, because winning means you're doing something right. And sometimes losing means you're doing something wrong, I guess. But I would be aware of that. Success looks different for everyone. And sometimes success goes beyond winning or losing. For example, just knowing that you've improved, that's huge success. I've had games played well. And so just as you keep playing and keep trying to improve, just know that you find success in a different way than other people, and that's okay. Success could look like being a good teammate, or it could look like actually making a layup that you've missed for years now. So ah, see me? Well, I can't hear you.
You me now?
I can't hear you, John.
You me now?
Oh yeah. Can you guys hear me? Or can you? Yeah.
Yeah. I think it will happen. Yeah.
Sorry, I don't know what happened. Yeah. Well, I'm almost done anyway. So, anyways, success. Important to know what it means to you. And that's it. So, if you guys have any questions.
Okay. Anybody got any questions for Maud? Who wants to go first? Zoe, you better have a question, Zoe. Are you speaking, Zoe? Oh, no. I've got a question for Abby.
Okay, so the question is, how are you finding your first year in Pride? Good. It's been very different because I'm playing in a new system than in the US, but yeah, it's been really fun actually. Even though I don't know if you guys follow Pride, we've not been winning a lot of games, but I think that as a team, we've been really focused on improving, and so I think I've really enjoyed just playing with new people, and seeing how we improve every day as a team. So it's been fun, but also like it's hard, because we do work really hard and there's just a lot going on. But I've really enjoyed it.
Okay, next question's in the group. Maud.
Okay. The next question was, where did you want to go after college? Did you have a plan? That's a good question because I had no plan. I feel like I've lived my life with kind of no plan and things come. But yeah, right after college, well, because of COVID, a lot of things were canceled. So I was meant to actually just work, but I didn't know I was going to keep playing basketball. But COVID canceled all that, and so I didn't know. He told me I could get my master's, while playing. So, oh, can you guys? Oh no,
I think it's maybe something on the internet, I think.
I know, I know. Can you? Oh, wait, I'm back. I'm back.
Back you back.
I don't know where I cut, but I didn't have a plan, and so I just got recruited and decided to take the opportunity of getting a master's while playing.
Cool. So next one is, what is your favourite thing you have done so far in basketball?
Mm, that's hard. I think in college last year we won our league, and we've won it all 4 years, which is we were the only team to win the league 4 years in a row. But last year, that was my favorite win because we were not supposed to win that entire league because we were so injured, so young, and actually no one had faith that we would win. But we worked really hard that year, and I think that was the biggest accomplishment, was to prove everyone wrong and to do that.
Cool. So next one is, was there any times you felt like you wanted to give up?
Mm, there yeah, there were times where maybe not give up the whole sport, but there were times where it was difficult to, yeah, want to keep playing that specific day or that specific week. I mean, I remember especially when I first moved to the US without my family, I did want to go home. And so in a way, I wanted to almost give up on that team in the US. So um, yeah, that happens to kind of have less motivation. But I think if you remember why you actually start to play the sport and why you actually want to get better, it helps everything. So I loved basketball enough that I would want to stay.
The next one is, what are your plans for the future?
Plans for the future. I don't know. I think I definitely want to keep playing. So I'm looking to keep playing for Pride next year. Um, so far, that's the only plan I have, is to keep playing basketball, and keep enjoying and seeing how we improve as a team.
Cool. Next one, do you have any regrets?
No, no, no regrets. I mean, definitely, things that I could mistakes maybe that I've made, but I think I've learned from a lot of my mistakes. And so in a way, I don't regret those because it's made me learn things in life now.
Okay, so what's the biggest difference you notice between basketball in the US compared to Scotland?
Mm, I think it's a different pace. So I think it's a European style to maybe run faster. I mean, at least in college, I don't think we ran as much. It was more set plays. Um, and I don't know if that's just pride or if it's an entire culture, but that's a huge difference. Is It's so much transition, a lot of running, and it's also very physical. But that's also true to the US.
How were you selected for Pride?
I think it was just the head coach. He actually just messaged me on Facebook and asked me if I'd heard of Pride, which I hadn't. But then I think he recruited me by looking at my academics because I knew I wanted to keep going to school. And so to play for the University of Edinburgh, you have to have the grades. And so I think that's how he selected me, was looking at my grades, and I know they recruit overseas. So
So next one is a long one. Did you have to go out and search for the things you've had, teams, college, high school, Pride, by talking to loads of coaches and stuff, or did you just wait and see if the coaches would come to you?
mm, so when I got recruited to play in high school, the coaches came to me because I didn't even know that I would move to the US. Um, and then in college, I did have to play in the US. They have these tournaments where you can get recruited. They're over summer, and there's a bunch of college coaches that come. And so I went to play, and the coaches saw me play, and then they asked me about what I wanted, what my plans were. And then once you get to that point, once you have coaches who see your game, then it's more just maintaining a conversation with them and talking to them. And so, yeah, I think it's, to answer your question, it's a little bit of both.
Cool. Was it hard to adapt to playing in Scotland?
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to play for another team that does things differently, because basketball is basketball everywhere, but every team plays differently. And so in college, we had certain plays, or we had certain ways of guarding players, and playing for Pride, there's different plays, different ways of guarding things. And neither are right or wrong. It's just they're different. And so in that way, it was hard to, the habits that I built, to change those, for to build new habits on a new team.
Cool. So next one, what was the biggest challenge coming to play for Pride in WBL?
Um, I think the biggest challenge was for me, for maybe the connections that I was making. So I came onto a team where everyone knew each other, and had played together for years, and so it's challenging to come to a team where you don't know anyone and you're the new person. And I really value the relationships I make on the team. So it takes time to get to know people, and to, yeah, for them to get to know you. And so that was a challenge, was how do I play with these people that I don't know, but also want to get to know, and that also gets a lot easier with time, and if you're willing to just talk to people. So that's been really nice, is to know them.
Okay, so next one, how do you find teams? Do you Google them? That's from Abby's sister.
Okay. That's a good question. Yeah, I mean, you could definitely find teams on the internet. For me, I think that teams, they found me through the tournaments that I played in. So sometimes the schools that introduce themselves to me, I didn't even really know of them. And so um, I don't know really if I can answer that question, because I feel like I've not really Googled teams, but I would assume that you can find every team on the internet. Also, connections really help. So your coaches may know other coaches when you don't know teams.
Yeah. Okay, next one. Is it difficult to use English as your first language now, even though you grew up speaking French?
No, yeah, no. Now it's fine. It's become more of my first language. But at first, yeah, when I was young, and also I didn't like to speak English at all. So I had a thick accent. So I was embarrassed, but now it's because I speak it every day, it's fine. Now it's almost like French is a struggle, which is super annoying because that's my language, but it's okay.
Yeah, and she still struggles to understand me. Just
Yeah. And you know what? The biggest challenge about coming to Pride is the accent. And John Day has like the thickest accent. No, it's definitely hard.
sometimes I have to slow it down on these Zoom calls, but
Yeah, especially with the masks,
yeah, the mask.
not possible.
Wait till you hear Sally speak. Off. That West Lothian accent's ridiculous.
I know. I'm kind of glad that you guys typed those questions, because I was thinking, what if I don't understand?
Well, you can blame everybody
yeah.
for Sally. Sally,
Huh?
Sally, you wouldn't have a clue what she was saying.
Oh, good then. Yeah.
I'll ask one for Evie Phillips. What's it like playing with Shan Phillips?
It's terrible. No, it's good. Yeah. No, it's fun.
Okay, so any other questions? Any other questions? No, no. Let me see. No. Okay, right. So we'll finish it there. So first of all, thanks everybody for coming. I'd really like to thank Mauds for coming on the call. Really appreciate that. And like I said, the good thing about having these calls is try to get to you guys about how everybody's journeys are different. And obviously Mauds' journey's completely different to anybody else for the call. Nobody else we've had in a call went to America from their home country at the age of 13. Most people are still begging their parents for £5 to go to the shops when they're 13 years old. Never mind flying to a completely different country. So I think it's really good for you guys to hear. So I really appreciate that for Mauds for coming on the call, especially given that she's got training in an hour's time. So she'll be getting ready for that. So thanks again, everybody, for coming on. You may leave. Mauds, you can stay on the now. Everybody else, you may leave.
Thank you.
Thank you. See you. Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Leave it. Bye, Sal.
Wow.
Hey,
Oh, well.
done.